In this video, we're going to review the discharge process, beginning with the clinical discharge, which is completed by the treating SLP. And that would be the scenario where a client has completed their care, they're no longer in need of speech and language services, they've met their goals, and they're within functional limits. We also have many scenarios that will be completed by our scheduling team or administration that fall into the category of an office discharge. These include evaluations that are completed and speech therapy is not indicated for clients. We also have scenarios where clients are being seen by a SLPA, and the discharge would need to be completed by the SLPA supervisor. We also have clients who are in our network but never respond to our calls, so they've never had an evaluation or any visits. We also have some clients who start care and due to non-compliance or excessive absences, they are not able to complete their care. And then we do have clients who partially complete care, and then for one reason or another, they abruptly stop attending speech. So all of these fall into the category of an office discharge, and they do need to be forwarded to our scheduling team as well as the clinical manager for review. So let's go back to our discharge, our clinical discharge. In a scenario where a client has completed their care, you want to make sure that whenever possible, that client is at the end of their authorization period before you discharge them. So really, planning for discharge should begin several weeks before. It shouldn't be something that's decided on the day of the last day of service. So whenever you are anticipating a discharge, you should be thinking about it 2 to 3 weeks in advance. An email should be sent to schedule@slptele.com, and the clinical manager should be copied on that email. The SLP must flag the discharge at least 2 weeks before that last visit, or 4 to 6 visits beforehand, by checking a box within the SOAP note that indicates, do you want to stop requesting more authorizations? And then once you do that, you should change your last visit type to a discharge, which will then generate a different kind of template where you can complete the last SOAP note and discharge summary. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So 2 weeks before, I should go into my SOAP note, and once I complete my SOAP note, there's a box down here that says, do you want to stop requesting more authorizations? And I say, okay. And I go ahead and complete my SOAP note. Planning to discharge in the next 2 weeks. All right, so I go ahead and save that. Again, ensure that you do check this box and save it. Once you sign and lock it, this will disappear. So we want to make sure that this is indeed saved. And then you want to go ahead and change that last visit. So if this is a week before, so you want to go ahead and anticipate 2 more visits. So this would be the last visit here. You want to go ahead and change that visit to a discharge for client child. And when it's time to go ahead and complete the discharge notes, when I go into clinical notes, you will notice 2 tabs. Your last SOAP note that you'll be completing, and then on the second tab, your discharge summary. And so you want to make sure you complete all aspects of your discharge summary. The reason for discharge: client is now age appropriate and has met their goals. Summary of progress: you should look back at when the client started care. And usually this will default to January 1st, 2019, but you want to make sure that you go back into your calendar and look at the exact date that care started. So let's say for this client, care started in February 13, 2020. And now they're ready for discharge on March 6th, 2020, which is today. Client started care on 2/13. Client has made steady progress and is now able to produce their sounds accurately. Status at discharge: we have pre-selected reasons for this. Most of the time, your clinical discharge should be because they met their goals. We do also have plateaued with functional status, and those should be, again, used sparingly, but you can go ahead and ask questions to the clinical manager if you're not sure. Attendance: we want to make sure we make a note if attendance was regular. Were all goals met or no goals were met, and why? So in this case, all goals were met. And instructions given to the client caregiver: continue to reinforce cues whenever client forgets to produce age appropriate sounds. And then we'll go ahead and save this. And again, you want to just make sure that you are accurate. Don't forget to fill out your last SOAP note. And then when you sign and lock it, that will make the discharge official. So let's go back to the scenario where the client Let's go back and look at the scenario for eval completed where ST is not indicated. That does happen when you evaluate a client and they either don't need speech therapy, or maybe their errors are completely developmentally normal. And so what you want to do in those cases, so we're going to go back to the calendar where we have our adult client here. We are going to go to the clinical notes. And once we fill out the evaluation template, which we will review more thoroughly in a different video, under plan of care is where you would indicate ST is not indicated. And again, you do get a warning that ST not indicated, you're going to be discharging. In this case, we're going to click on OK. And then you want to put another short couple of sentences in here saying client does not need speech therapy. They presented with age appropriate and functional speech and language skills. All right. So in this case, you wouldn't need to fill out the frequency because that particular section has collapsed, and you would save it. And then when it's time to go ahead and sign and lock it, this is something that you don't want to do until you contact the clinical manager. You want to save the information and go ahead and send an email to schedule@slptele.com and go ahead and just give us a heads up that you have evaluated a client whom you do not think is appropriate or ST is not indicated, and the clinical manager will review the case and then give you the thumbs up to go ahead and sign and lock. And again, just to review, ST not indicated should be reserved for only clients who truly do not need speech therapy. If you are evaluating a client who is in need of speech therapy and you're not sure if teletherapy will be the right fit, we always want to offer 4 to 6 sessions of trial to all clients, and carefully document which strategies were used before we officially discharge them. And those are also scenarios that need to be closely monitored and sent to the scheduling team as well as the clinical manager for review. All right, and that concludes our video about discharge and the process of discharge. Thank you for watching.